Hey team, let's talk about managing our time. No matter how much we kick and scream, we cannot magically create extra hours in the day, in the week, in the month, or the year. Every single one of us is limited by the same 168 hours per week. We can't get more time, but we can practice better time management. From my very own informal research, I asked my friends, the majority of hardworking people want to practice effective time management, but they don't really have a time to manage some of the suckiest time sucks on our time: interruptions. Interruptions to your day will stealthily steal away your time. They will steal so much of your life that you cannot get back. And you may not have actually tallied up how much time has been stolen by these interruptions. These pings on Slack, on Google Chat, on your phone, on LinkedIn, all of the things that are competing for your attention with ping, 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 notification after notification. It often feels a little bit ridiculous how seemingly small interruptions can affect your day. Trying to get everything done, and there is so much to be done, and handle interruptions effectively can cause feelings of frustration and a little bit of resentment and increased stress levels. These feelings impact your sense of well-being and your job satisfaction and your quality of life. So let's talk about 5 effective tips for handling interruptions gracefully and getting more done in our day. Well, the first one is build interruption time into your day. Know that it's going to happen and know that you can handle it. You will never have a single day that is completely uninterrupted by something else just because of the nature of our work. These interruptions, though, are what distract us from completing our real work. They break concentration, making it harder for picking up tasks. In fact, some studies show that it takes up to 25 minutes to refocus on a task once you've been interrupted. If you're at an office, you're at work, and somebody pops by unexpectedly, you'll notice that it often turns into a longer conversation than you really wanted it to. Before you know it, half an hour is gone and you're stuck listening to stories about Fluffy and the frog in the backyard. You cannot get that time back, and now you feel more behind. So even if you're working remotely, that quick question, little Zoom time, often turns into a bit more of a discussion. Consider your usual time management and block out time that you are willing to give to random interruptions. For example, when someone pops into your office or gives you a YT question mark, you there on Slack, you can say, I'm working on a project, so I only have 5 minutes to give you. At the end of 5 minutes, if the other person is still there and still talking, you can graciously say, which by the way is totally fine. You don't actually have to be that gracious. I'm so sorry, my time is up. I have to get back to this project. If you respect your time, others will too. It is totally okay. And yes, someone might get huffy in the moment because they felt like it was their time, but be respectful of your own boundaries and other people will follow your lead. You should also feel comfortable saying, now isn't a good time for me. Can we catch up for 10 minutes at 3 o'clock or whatever time you've blocked off for handling interruptions? This is a really helpful tactic, and it will also eventually train your coworkers to save their questions for a specific time, or even continue those interruptions via email so you can handle them whenever is convenient for you. Number 2 is plan your day the day before. We've already created a video on this for planning your day the day before using the 139 method. This is a perfect starting place to manage your time effectively. You know what you have to start on first, and you'll have a better time or an easier time managing your day if you have a map to follow, even if it's a simple list of what you want to accomplish that day. Number 3 is interesting. Plan your phone conversations. This applies to Zoom too. Whenever you're doing a conversation with another person or other people, plan it out. Phone calls, if we're being really honest, or a quick Zoom, it's a huge time waster. Planning conversations before you even pick up the phone or click on connect to that Zoom call will allow you to stay in control of your time. Be in charge of how long that conversation lasts. Know what you need to talk about and don't get derailed. Don't be afraid to set an agenda, even for short calls. And as an aside, I would much prefer an agenda, even for a quick, hey, let's touch base for 10 minutes, Tell me what this meeting is about. It is just respectful of the other person's time, so they also have the ability to prepare. Most people don't want to risk sounding rude, and since we're all working remotely or we're working remotely a lot, we want to make sure that we're not coming across as terse or unfriendly or not a team player when we're communicating with our coworkers. That often leads to people staying on a phone conversation much longer than they intended to because they don't know how to extract themselves from it. Does that sound like you? It's me too. Here are several ideas for ways you can end a phone conversation. Hey, I'm so sorry to interrupt. I just looked at the time and I really need to run. My apologies, but I'm in the middle of a project that's due. I've got to go. Thanks so much for calling. I have a meeting starting in just a minute. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I've got to run. I'll talk to you soon. This was so fun. We'll catch up again soon. I've got to go now though. If these feel awkward to start with, don't worry. Practice them and practice them with a friend. Practice saying them so that it feels natural when you just genuinely need to get off the phone immediately and don't have time to allow them to continue to ramble. Not that they're all rambling, but let's be real. Okay, number 4 is pretty crucial. Don't let social media interrupt you. If being on social media is a must for you, and let's be real, is it a must? Let it be a scheduled interruption. Block off an hour of your day in small chunks to allow for social media time. Stick to that time just as if it were an appointment. If you must, use an alarm on your phone or another device, or set a timer so that you know when your time is up. It might even be helpful to treat that time as a reward for getting a project done or making progress on something. If social media is non-essential for your job and you struggle with turning it off, consider setting daily limits for certain types of apps on your phone. There are many different types of these apps for iPhone and Android, and there are also browser extensions that will lock certain websites so that you can't visit them during certain times of day. It is totally okay to block time-sucking websites, especially if you know that you feel a little urge to go check them frequently. And finally, we're at tip number 5, prioritize the interruptions. Identify those interruptions that must be dealt with immediately and those that can wait for a later time. Remember, you don't have to make someone else's emergency your priority. Someone didn't get what they needed, didn't accomplish what they wanted to, and all of a sudden now it's dropped in your lap as an intense emergency. Their sense of urgency that their tone is bringing and their body language will make you respond in kind. They need you to drop everything and get them out of a jam. It's okay to say no. And I know you've heard that no is a complete sentence. If it doesn't feel okay to say no, why not? Consider this. Would the team be let down if you were unable to complete your task for the day? Is your manager calling and interrupting and asking you to switch your attention to a new project or a new task? Consider asking them to help you review the tasks that you're currently working on and help you prioritize them. It's their job as a manager to unblock you, provide resources, and ensure that your work is as efficient as possible. It's our job to contribute to and support the achievement of team goals. But if interruptions are frequently reducing your productivity, it might be time for a team meeting to determine some communication guidelines and maybe set some established boundaries. If you're having trouble refocusing and getting action items completed, other team members might be having the same problem. So my question for you is, how will you manage your interruptions just a little bit better this week? I'm excited to hear from you. Drop a comment down below. And if no one has told you yet today, I love you, I'm proud of you, and I cannot wait to celebrate your success.